kĩeha na maithori na ruo rwa ngoro matiĩte a Kenya aingĩ mũno magĩkoretwo na kĩmako kĩingĩ mũno makĩria thĩinĩ wa mũmemerekia wĩ ngũthi ũrĩa ũrakũrehagĩra gĩbindi kĩa rurumũka o mũthenya wa Sunday mena mũndũ ũĩkaine ta DJ Covenant. Rĩu Heren Muthoni no ũrĩa bado ũinaga nyĩmbo cia kuoca Mwathani, rĩu nĩagĩtarĩirie rũgano rwa kĩeha ruo rwa ngoro yake ũrĩa ahetũkĩire mathĩna maingĩ rĩrĩa arĩ kana kanini na agĩtuĩka wa gũkĩmena arume na agĩkorwo akĩmamenete o biũ. Itanakĩamba gũkũmenyithia kĩrĩa kĩahapeneire Heren Muthoni, ndakwĩhoya na gĩtĩo ũtuĩke wa gũsubscribe na ũtuĩke wa kũhutia gakengere nĩguo twĩkũrehera mohoro rĩ ũgakoragwo ũrĩ wa mbere ũkĩmamenya. Niĩ njĩtagwo Kamjoroka University. Rĩu Heren Muthoni nĩagĩthiĩte hau ng'enda-inĩ ciake cia ũkinyanĩria na kwaga gũkĩmaka na gũkorwo akiumbũra ndeto cigatiga andũ aingĩ na kĩmako. Arĩ kairĩtu ka mĩaka 6 nĩatuĩkire wa kũhahamwo kĩmwĩrĩ na kũnyitwo kĩa hinya nĩ mũndũ ũĩkaine thĩinĩ wa itũra rĩrĩa agĩikaraga. Akĩremwo nĩ kũhitha kĩrĩa kĩ ngoro-inĩ yake, akiumbũra ndeto kiumbũri na gũkiuga mamawe nĩwe wagĩtuĩkire wa kũmũnyita kĩa hinya. Ũũ nĩ atĩ ona thutha wake gũgĩkorwo akĩhetũkĩra maya mothe, ithe wake mũmũciari ndakĩrĩ muoyo gwa kahinda-inĩ kau, nĩgũgĩkorwo nĩagĩkuĩrĩire kũrĩa mwena-inĩ wa Nairobi thĩinĩ wa mũthutũko ũrĩa wakĩiguĩkĩte ũgwĩtwo bomb blast hau mĩaka-inĩ ĩyo ya gabere. No rĩu thutha wa ithe wa Heren Muthoni gũgĩkua 1998 August mũribũko-inĩ ũcio wa bomu, rĩu mama wa Heren Muthoni nĩwe wagĩtigĩirwo ciana icio ciao marĩ tũnini mũno. Ũũ nĩ atĩ after ithe gũgĩkua mwaka-inĩ wa 1998 August, rĩu marĩ twana tũnini nĩmakĩonire wega ta wega makĩoye magũrũ magĩthiĩ magaikarage kwa mama wao. Nĩ mama ũrĩa makĩendete na njĩra nene mũno, nĩgũkorwo ona thutha wao gũgĩthiĩ kũu nĩmagĩkorirwo makĩonio wendo mũingĩ mũno makĩria, nĩmakĩona mama wao arĩ mũndũ wa bata mũno makĩria. Makiona wega ta wega nĩmagĩthiĩ magaikare kwa mama wao, tondũ mama ũcio wao nĩmagĩikaraga maica ma hinya na wĩkorwo mama wake ndagĩkoretwo eremetwo. Ũũ arĩ na mbeca njega cia kũmarera nginya maigane. Rĩu no ũkĩnjĩtĩkĩrie ngĩambe ngĩgũthakĩre gathenema gaka ka Heren Muthoni ũrĩa arakĩaria akĩrĩ na ruo rwa ngoro. Niĩ njĩtagwo Kamjoroka University. Asanteni sana na tena karibuni.
It's not an easy story to tell, and definitely it has some triggers, so I totally advise if you feel this video will trigger you, it's good you just skip, but I pray it doesn't. So before I get into it, let me tell you, my name is Heren Muthoni. I'm born again, Christ is Lord. If you're new here, please consider subscribing to this channel. It's to make sure that you stay encouraged and know that the Lord is also working on your story and He's inside in every detail. So please consider subscribing and coming back again. If this is your second time, if you are not new and you've been here all through, thank you and may God bless you. Now let's get into it. So the reason I was always asking a parent, how old is your child, is because at the age of 6, right after my dad died in the bomb blast that happened in Nairobi in 1998, I was sexually abused. I was raped. And the person who did this was not far from our family. It's somebody whom I considered an uncle. He really is an uncle. And their home was not far from our home. It was just one homestead away from my home. And I never thought, well, as a child, you can never even think anything like that would happen. But I always felt safe in their home, because they had everything I thought I had from my previous home, from my previous life. See, when my dad was alive, he was a well-to-do man. So we had everything. Our lives were going well. I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth. I'm grateful to God for that. But when he died, everything turned around and we went back to my maternal grandmother home. And life was not like the way it was at my father and my mother's home. So the only thing that came close to what I was used to was this uncle's place. They are home now. They were rich, they had a good home, and as I'm saying this, most of my village people already are getting to know who the person is. I'm not doing this video to shame anybody or anything. I'm just here to share this side of my story to encourage, because I realized most women are mostly abused when they were young, and to some extent the society makes them feel like it was their fault. It was your fault. And I also the devil plays in a role in that, making them feel ashamed, and even when they don't even know what really happened to them, they die slowly inside. They die pole pole. This was my case. They even never know how to express themselves. You see, when a woman or even a man, I understand that nowadays it has got really bad. When a man or a woman experiences a sexual molestation in their life, especially when they are young, something is stolen from them. There's a certain of innocence. There's a certain of feeling a right that is taken away from them without their consent. And that is the worst thing you can ever do to any human being. Taking away a right that it's theirs, even though at that point they will not understand what you have done. When they grow up and they realize what you exactly did to them, that guilt and that hurt never leaves their heart. And of course, I ran to God my life, because I never had a dad, and now I cannot trust a man. And I will tell you when it happened. I won't go into the details of what exactly happened, because I am not here to crucify anyone. But when it happened, the second man who was also in my life who was also supposed to protect me as young as he was, when he realized what had happened to me, he locked me in his cubicle and beat the hell out of me. He beat me so bad with his belt, and he really wanted me to reveal who did that to me. And looking back, because he was young, maybe that is where his knowledge had reached. But now, because he's all grown up, I look at him and I keep wondering, because he has a young daughter, I keep wondering, what if somebody does that to your daughter? Would you do that? How would you react? Would you beat your daughter? And if the answer is yes, then that is such a wrong answer. You should not beat a rape victim, because you're adding another wound. Now, this goes without saying that my relationship with men became very sore. I didn't want anything to do with any man except God. And I think I was happy, because I didn't know whether the gender of God at that point. And because I think if I got to know that he was a man, I would also have run away from him. Because just think this, the only man I knew as my father is my dad is dead. He has left me. And after he has left, my life has turned around and we have gone to poverty living. And now the uncle, who is old enough, has molested me sexually. The other man, who is also in my life, has beaten the hell out of me because of being molested. Now, these are the three men that I was in constant relationship with when I was young. So that goes without saying, I hated the male gender with all my heart. I detested any person who would wear a trouser. And I believe that was the aim of the devil from the beginning, because he knew my ministry ahead. And let me tell you something. You might say that we usually blame the devil and all that, but let me tell you why I think that is because going to the Bible days, The people who knew that Jesus has been born were not the Christians, were not the people who are waiting, not Christians, Christians were not then, are not the people who are told that the Messiah is coming. The people who first got to know that Jesus has been born and they saw the star, they practiced magic. And it's funny because God allowed them to know that. But the reason they knew is because they knew how to study stars and to know when a certain person has been born. Now, this thing happened until now. Yes, even into our days, it still happens. And